Welcome, everyone, to this edition of Conversations with the Mayor. And this month, one of the conversations that we're going to have, is about the upcoming Economic Development Summit. Sitting with me today, of course, is Mayor Dan Rizzo, and sitting next to Dan Rizzo is John FESTA, the Economic Development Director.
Yes.
Do I have it?
Yes.
Correctly. Who's been working with the mayor to put this together. The event's going to be October 26th, if I remember correct. It's going to be roughly a half-day summit.
Correct.
Being held at the Comfort Inn Suites. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about how it got started. Where did the idea come from, and why are we doing it?
Basically, what happened was when the mayor appointed me to the position of Director of Economic Development, one of the things that he wanted, stressed very strongly, is to be aggressive in trying to seek developers. Well, Revere has a lot of investment opportunities, and so one of the things that the mayor really stressed very heavily was to try to really branch out and be aggressive to try to seek developers nationally, regionally, and to show what Revere has to offer, and to go out and be proactive. So by doing something of this nature, we're attracting a lot of attention, and we're getting a lot of great responses from developers all across the country. And as I stated, we're going to show what Revere has to offer, both on on Revere Beach and different sections of Revere, and showing our assets and showing how we can work with developers to really make a transition in the city of Revere.
Mm-hmm. Dan?
Yeah. One of the things, as John alluded to, is, as I campaigned across the city last year, one of my themes and one of my priorities was to have a strong economic development team. Mm-hmm. And that's why one of the first, I think the first hire that I made was to bring on John as my economic development director, which I'm very, very grateful to the city council for their support to help fund that position and to help me implement this theory of being proactive as opposed to reactive.
Yep.
I wanted to have a very, very aggressive approach to the way we approach economic development, and here we are 10 months into my first year as mayor, and John is really putting together a very, very significant program, as he alluded to, bringing in developers from out of state, not just in New England, but beyond, to come to the Comfort Inn on the 26th of October to see. We really have. It's going to start off with a presentation, about an 8 to 12 minute video of various sites throughout the city. It will then take on a period of presentations, speakers that will talk about developing in Revere, the way we're looking to streamline the process, the way we're interested in talking about tax increment financing, if that is going to be a way to have businesses find their way into the city, and then following up to that will be a bus tour throughout the city that will take these prospective investors and developers around the city to actually show them properties that may be available for development or redevelopment. And then it'll all culminate in a luncheon down at Antonia's. So we're really trying to put on we want to put our best foot forward. And John knows this. We have a shared philosophy of being a first-class city. We're not a second-class city. We're a first-class city. We want these developers to know that they're going to get a first-class experience when they come to the city of Revere.
That's fantastic. It's great to hear that. In looking to the developers, I'm just curious, when you say you reach out to developers nationally and regionally, how do you do that? Do you have a consulting group that's helping you identify? How does one go about to cast that net, so to speak?
It's a combination of factors, Ed. A combination of working with companies like CDM Smith, who can help us out and branching out. We're working with NIOP, with the state agency, to really branch out to give us feedback of developers that they have worked with over the past 10, 15 years, and also the people that are extremely active across the country. So we got a very, very good feedback as to, what areas that we want to focus in on and what developers we want to focus in on. And fortunately, there's been a lot of interest because as we've been having this dialogue, they've been very receptive, and we're welcoming them. And as the mayor stated, we want to show what we have to offer, but we also want to show things of how we can work with them, what the permitting process, how we can speed the process up to do it so there's no delays. There's certain things that key developers on a certain magnitude look for, and we want to hit that market niche, and we're going to do that. And so we're excited. So we've expanded, and we've looked for help from different agencies in the state, which have been extremely helpful, and also we did our own research as well. So it's been a combination of the two.
That's great. And speaking of agencies from the state, and I noticed looking at the agenda, you have a number of people participating from the state, from the State House delegation, in including a number of departments. Talk about that a little bit, some of the people that will be speaking that day.
Well, we're very, very fortunate, and I say this all the time, to have the state delegation that we have. I mean, obviously, starting right at the top with Speaker Bob DeLeo, he's been a great advocate for the city of Revere for a long, long time now, and continues to be, and really in a position now to to really paint Revere in a very, very positive light. We've got Kathy Reinstein in leadership right now, assistant majority leader, a great advocate for the city of Revere, and Senator Petroselli, who's quickly made his mark here in the city, and very, very sharp guy, and always willing to help the city out with respects to anything that we need as a city at a state level. So, I'm really, I say this all the time, I'm very, very fortunate to have people like that to work with in our state delegation. And then beyond that, we have, the Mass Office of Housing and Economic Development. We've got Mass Office of Business Development. We've got Mass Development. So we've got a lot of different resources that the city is really starting to reach out and use as a resource. They want to be used as a resource to help communities, and particularly as a gateway city. There's programs out there and resources out there that I'm really encouraging John to reach out and use because they are at our disposal. And as I say, Riviera is, I think, on the cusp. We've got 2.5 miles of coastline that I think anybody would argue it's vastly underutilized. And but we've been entertaining proposals now virtually since the day I walked into the mayor's office. And I think you're going to see if we're having this conversation next year at this time, the city will have made some significant progress in several different areas. So.
Looking forward to that, and going back to the agenda, and I think I saw one of the names on there with Lieutenant Governor Murray. So you have support and participation from.
Yes, Lieutenant Governor Murray has been invited, and hopefully he will attend that, and our representative from his office will be attending. But as the mayor alluded to, we wanted to show these developers that we have support not only on the local level but on the state level. And as the mayor stated, there's programs out there that Revere has not touched upon. And now what's happening is when we're branching out to these individuals of mass housing development, they're looking at it and saying, "Wow, Revere is being aggressive. There's programs, there's funding available." So we want to show them when these developers come in and they come into the summit, they want to know about the investment opportunities, but they want to know what programs are available, what the city is going to do. So it's a very master plan as to how we are going to approach this and how we can get this investment dollars in the city, and that's so vitally important.
Yeah. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say, and one of the things, I may be getting a little ahead of ourselves here, but one of the things that obviously the city is trying to shake, and it happens quite a bit, unfortunately, is the city of Revere. Not necessarily under my predecessor, but for whatever reason has always had this kind of perception of being a hard place to do business and a hard place, to get off the ground from a developer standpoint. And that the permitting process, the red tape, everything that goes along with getting into the ground, really is nothing but cost at that point to the developer. And carrying costs are very, very important. Waiting time is very, very important for a developer. So, I've made it clear through John, and John is carrying that message throughout the entire team that makes economic development possible here in the city, that it is our goal to make sure that everybody is doing their job, that we are ramped up and ready to, that we're open for business. People come here, they're our customer. We're welcoming them. They're adding to our tax base. They're helping us grow our communities, and this is the message that we want to send out there to people. So that's the reason we have our state delegation here. That's the reason that we've invited Lieutenant Governor Murray to participate. That's the reason we have Victoria McGuire and Marty Jones that are going to come here and attest to the fact that they're there to support their efforts in developing here in the city of Revere.
Sure. And I would imagine the developers coming in, I mean, that's one of the things they're going to look for. Is there a functioning team that's ready to move on this as we come in, so that we're not just spinning our wheels, so to speak? Yeah.
Absolutely. They want to know that when they come in here and they're looking to invest into the city of Revere, that the process, that first of all, they're going to be welcome. Number two, obviously we look at it from a twofold perspective. We look at it that, A, we want to go out and we want to be aggressive in attracting these developers, and at the same time we want to make sure that the developments are done properly as well. So, we look at that, but we need to make sure that they have a pleasurable experience, that they get the answers right away. If they want to invest in this city, if there's something that they want to do, and there's some problems with that, and we need to address it. How do we address it in a quick and efficient fashion? So that's what we're trying to do. We want to make sure we're all on the same page. We all have the mayor's goals and objectives in mind, and we take it very seriously. But we want to have, by doing something of this nature, we can show developers across the country the professionalism the city of Revere has, and what we have to offer, and I think that it's quite exciting. And what's happening now, the response has been great.
Well, it's got to be exciting to be in your position to be able to to help. And I said on election night when I was talking with Bob Mara and a number of other people, you just had the sense that Revere is on the cusp of some great things, I think, and this is just kind of moving it on in that direction, and it's wonderful to see some good buzz about the city, and I think things like the Columbus Day breakfast that just took place, which was a huge success, and bringing back the Columbus Day parade. These are all things that are going to put the city on the map, so to speak, and the Sand Sculpting Festival next year is the 10th anniversary. Things of that nature just bring the city out and the great things in the city. And of course we've got this beautiful beach, and we talked about, I think it was one of the Super Bowl games where I was talking about how they referred to Revere as the beautiful seaside resort of Revere, Massachusetts. So it's wonderful.
Well put.
Yeah, exactly. You want to hear that again? In the agenda, in some of the information I was reading, there was talk about discussing some of the investment opportunities and things that will be available. Can you talk about some of those investment opportunities or development opportunities, rather?
Oh, sure. There's I don't know where to begin. There's many.
You can talk about investment opportunities.
Absolutely, no. There's so many. Like we'll start. We have something now where it's very close to the possibility of a gaming facility coming at Suffolk at the old Shaw's supermarket site.
I think I heard something about that.
Okay, and there's a very exciting possibility that could happen there. There's an investment opportunity that that it's so close to the beach. It's close to Suffolk Downs, and then if you go further down on Revere Beach, there's numerous properties that developers are looking at for development opportunities. The Castle Moss site is one. Also, we're working very vigorously with Mr. DeGandri from Eurovest on Parcel H. We've got a very exciting, I think, project maybe coming forward very soon on that site. So all along the beach, we have a great, another site is the Wonderland, the old Wonderland dog track site that has been shown a lot of interest from a lot of different entities. So we're entertaining that as well. And I said to the mayor, I've been here a long time, and I've never seen so much possibilities, and I really believe in my heart with all these different developers that are coming in on the summit and also that are showing interest right now, that you will see a transformation in the next 2 to 3 years like you've never seen before. And I really believe that in my heart, Ed. But there's a vast number of investment opportunities across the board.
As I said, it is very exciting, to be here at this time to see these things happening. One of the other things that you mentioned earlier is it's going to take place as a tour of the city. You want to talk a little bit about the points that are that you're going to highlight on that tour?
Sure. We're going to start from Logan Airport, the 1A corridor, and we're going to show all the properties on both sides coming into Revere, and what the zoning and what parcels of land are available, both land and also current buildings that may be for sale or possibility for commercial developments. And then as we go forward, there's going to be visuals of fly-throughs from the possibility of the gaming facility, and as I mentioned prior, about the Shaw Supermarket. Then we're going to continue down all along Revere Beach. Every single opportunity is going to be highlighted, vacant parcels of land and also buildings as well. And then, obviously, Wonderland, we're going to be showing that. And then we're also going to continue. We're not just going to focus on that area. We're also going to be focusing more north as well, going to like Northgate Shopping Center.
Okay.
We feel that right now might be a little underutilized, and we would like to see, I know the mayor's vision down there is to really see that grow and expand, and, with Overlook Ridge being developed. And, and one of the things, we're not only going to stop at Northgate, we're going to look at a lot of the sites. We're going to highlight the sites that we think that will be attractive for initial investment, and not just on the beach and Northgate, expanding, wherever there's an opportunity. So we highlighted numerous sites, and then what we're going to do is we're going to show what the zoning is, the acreage, what could be done on the site, and also on a couple of the sites we're also going to show a possibility of a vision that we have for the next generation in the city of Revere. So it's
now the event is invitation basically. I think you sent out invites to the various developers that drew.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah, it's by invitation because obviously we wanted to have it. We wanted this program for serious people that were are genuinely interested in some of the possibilities that we have. One of the things I haven't shared this with John yet, but I hope during that bus tour is that they make a little stop at Parcel H at Wonderland and take them up to the top floor of that parking garage and take a view both over to the dog track side and over to the ocean side, just so they get a sense of what they can actually see high above, instead of from ground level, look out and see what they actually have there. Because, I think once people do that, and I've brought people up there in the past, it kind of speaks for itself. You don't have to do any more of a sales pitch to people that are interested in investing here. If you bring them up there, you show them, you go up 6 stories, 5, 6 stories, you look out, you see the Boston skyline over here, you've got virtually all of Revere over here, and then you turn around, you've got the beautiful ocean front over here. I mean, you factor that in with our proximity to Boston, 5 minutes from downtown and 5 minutes from Logan Airport. I mean, it makes perfect sense for people that are looking for a place to invest their money to further expand their businesses, or talk about we talk an awful lot about hotel development, but I think I've entertained with John probably 3 or 4 anyway hotel developments.
Yes.
And it's frustrating, because as I say, our administration's been here for less than 10 months now. So, we wish there was a couple of shovels in the ground already, but nothing happens overnight. And everything, especially when you're talking about major projects, projects that, 50, 60, 100, $200 million projects, those take a while, just the permitting process, state permitting process and so on. Not the city of Revere, but the different processes that they have to go through just to get to that point. Not to mention negotiations with the landowners or leaseholders and things like that. Everything takes time. So I think the most frustrating thing for myself, and I don't mean to speak for John, but I think for John as well, is that we haven't seen that shovel in the ground yet. We haven't seen the excavators and the backhoes moving on to the sites to get everything going. I mean, because we can feel it, but we're just not there yet. So we're just going to keep going, and as these proposals start to come to fruition, it'll be something obviously for us to show the general public. Certainly our tax base could use it, and really the actual utility of what I see coming into this city is going to be a great benefit for our residents. You know, it's not just for taxes that we want to grow our city. It's to give our residents a better quality of life and more access to recreational opportunities, restaurants, shops, things like that. I mean, I think that we build a lot of value in bringing in new investment and new development.
And along with the mayor is saying, you know, some of the developers that we're aggressively seeking to do developments in the city, as the mayor stated, it's multi-million-dollar investments. The due diligence process takes a long time. And one of the things that we're stressing to these developers is to really build something that we call landmark buildings, so that the aesthetics of these buildings are very, very beautiful. It's not going to be just, you know, I'm very excited because I know that some of these developers, what they're doing now, they're in that process, and some of the concepts that they have it's breathtaking, and that's what we want. We want to be able to look at these buildings and say, wow, that's a beautiful looking building. We're proud of it. People from all over the country can come in and will be very impressed, not only from a financial standpoint from the city of Revere, but also from the aesthetics of that building. So it is frustrating because it's taken a long time, and sometimes your patience grows thin a little bit, but you have to be persistent. And then if you stay on them and you make sure that all the answers are being accomplished, and hopefully, like the mayor said, next year at this time, I'm hoping to have some very exciting news.
So someday, maybe on the skyline of Revere Beach, we'll have the sail type building, you know, like in Abu Dhabi there.
Have you seen the pictures yet?
Geez, I'm sorry, I don't want to give that.
We have some very, very interesting development, and John's 100% right. You know, we are looking for landmark buildings. We're not looking for concrete blocks. You know, we're looking for people with a vision, and we're looking for developers with a vision. There have been a couple of developers where we've had control over the land and over the property and the usage that we quite honestly have told we didn't like their plan and we're not interested. You know, so I mean, as much as it would have maybe meant some money to us by way of taxes, we do. You know, it's all about a vision. I mean, it kind of coincides with our vision for Broadway and what we want to do for our central business district, you know.
And that, you just hit upon something, the vision, a plan. You know, obviously, we are on the cusp. There's so many things that's wide open. It's like the Wild West a little bit, in a way. But you know, you need to have a plan. And, and I know Frank is involved in city planning for years, Frank Stringy. And I'm sure you're working closely with him. He's part of your team. I saw his name on the list. But a big part of what you're doing is not only trying to bring in developers, get them interested, but also to have them work in concert with your vision, where you see the city going, and the plan that you envision for the city. Is that something you'll be talking about that day of the summit, is what the city's vision is, and where you're taking
I've got a 5-minute roll. John's basically running the show.
No, absolutely. I can absolutely answer that. Yes, to answer your question, yes, we do have a vision. Everything that we're doing, we have a master plan, whether it's Broadway, revitalization, we have a 3-year process on what we want to do. We just don't want to, maybe in the past what had happened was we felt that developments were individualized. Now what we're doing, what we're going to show at the Economic Development Summit, we're going to show what we like to see on Revere Beach and how can we make this happen, you know, so that it's not being one hotel's going up here, another hotel's going over here, or we want to make sure that when it's all said and done, we can look back and say, this is the vision that we have for Revere Beach, and not just for Revere Beach, but throughout the whole city. So, you know, I know the mayor and I very much agree on this. Before we do anything, we like to have a plan and an approach and a strategy on how to accomplish that. And so we will be talking about what we like to see in different areas in the city. A matter of fact, to the point where we'll have bullet points as to, you know, really spell out to these developers that are coming in, you know, what we're looking to do.
If I could just follow up on that just very briefly, you know, it's going to be, I mean, kind of similar to almost us putting out an RFP, where, you know, this is priority number 1. This is what we'd like to see. Correct. To a lesser extent, this is what we'd like to see number 2. Number 3, this is, and let people know where the city of Revere's interest lies. You know, I think that's very, very important, because the one thing we don't want to do, and I used the word earlier, order takers, I don't want to be an order taker. We want to dictate what comes into this city and grow the city the way that we see as the best fit for our residents in our city. So,
And going back to what I said earlier, we're in a position now, I think you're in a position now to where you don't have to be order takers anymore.
You're right.
Really.
That's right.
I mean, in the past, and as you said, no taking away from the other mayors and the other administrations that existed previous, but it was such that that Revere didn't have the best reputation, and sometimes we had to take things that came along and make the best that we could with it, and that's what was done.
Right.
Fortunately, now it's got a little bit more cachet with everything that's going on, and so
Absolutely,
now
yes.
you can say we can pick and choose. Yeah.
Well, one of the
exciting.
things that a lot of developers are saying, they come in, they say they didn't realize that they call it the lost jewel, and that phrase keeps on coming up. And that when they come in, as the mayor stated, when they come and see the beach or they come and see this different areas, they don't. Now they're realizing the potential, and that's why there's so much interest. Now they're seeing it; it's exposed, and I think what we're doing in the administration is really promoting and really trying to go out and get the developers, and that's why you're seeing so much interest.
Yeah, I mean, definitely the visual. I mean, like developers come into my office and we're immediately spinning them around and taking them to different sites, because I think it's all about the visual. You can sit and talk numbers and talk about, but you know what? You have to see, they need to see what we have. A lot of people, believe it or not, we know what we have. A lot of people outside the city don't.
know.
Correct.
Yeah.
That's right.
So it's just getting that word out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it's October 26th. I think actually Revere TV will be there. We'll be cable casting the
Great.
event, and
Great.
it'll be shown on TV. I think you're going to have representation from the other TV stations
Yes.
in the area as well, correct?
That's correct.
Yep. So it's going to be well publicized.
Yes, and all the media will be notified, and we're very excited about it.
So one more great piece of buzz for the city of
Absolutely.
Revere. Okay, so that's the economic development on the 26th. I'm looking forward to hearing what comes out of that and some of the great ideas, the great possibilities.
Okay.
I guess that start to develop. So this is just the beginning.
Well, and just let me say from my perspective, I do appreciate the good word that I guess this will be a little opportunity for me to thank you and what Revere TV is doing on a community level to bring the word of what we're doing here as an administration out to the people. I really, I think there's a lot of benefit to that, and I'm very appreciative, for that opportunity.
Well,
so
I know communication is a big idea, I guess not idea as such, but a big issue for you, and we're glad to be part of helping you get through with the communication.
so we definitely appreciate it, Ed.
All right.
Thank you, Ed.
Our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you.
For Revere TV, Conversations with the Mayor, thank you all. Take care. We'll see you next month.